Hi friends, welcome back to On Location. I'm your host, Zara. The show is produced with the support of TELUS STORYHIVE, and currently we're here in Terrace, British Columbia. My first time being here in northern BC, and my goodness, so many gorgeous views, and I have the privilege of being here at the men's shed right now. Joining me is Bradley Pretty, founder and president, a man with decades of experience working in remote industry, who's now channeling his energy into something deeply human and meaningful, creating a space where men can gather, build, connect, and heal. From garden boxes to medical furniture, the hands-on work here isn't just about tools and timber, it's about purpose, brotherhood, and mental well-being. Bradley, thank you so much for taking the time. Before you get on the road, you guys are off to an adventure.
Yes, we are. We're going camping.
Where are you going camping?
Mahood Lake.
Mahood Lake.
Grey Wells Provincial Park.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a drive, I hear.
It's 10 hours. So, yeah, it's a bit of a drive. But it's normal in BC.
In BC, beautiful British Columbia. My goodness, I've been traveling around the world. And when I come back home, when I come back to BC, and especially with the show, I get to go to so many amazing places. It's just making me fall in love with our beautiful province. Let's get into it. What was the moment, if you can remember, that first gave you this spark to start the men's shed?
Well, with like most of my great ideas, it came from Catherine.
Brilliant.
So she had seen a YouTube video with Taylor Baccarat as a MLA, and he was giving a shout out to men's sheds in BC, Vanderhoof, Fraser Lake areas. And I thought, hey, that's kind of cool. And so I contacted Men's Shed BC, the president, Jan Venema, and he said, hey, listen, we're doing across the country, or not country, but the province, towns, and do you think you could find us a spot to put on an info session in Terrace? I said, sure. And so I went around and I promoted it, and I put up posters and put the word out there on social media. That.
And how long ago was this?
This was back in May of 2024.
Okay, last year.
Last year, yeah. So we did the info session, and at the info session, a lot of different groups were represented, not just men, but people that wanted to know about the men's shed. Other community services were there. And so anyway, Jan went into his spiel on men's sheds, and at the end of it, he said, and Brad's going to take it on. And I guess my eyes gave it away that I was like shocked, and
in front of everyone.
In front of everybody.
So you had no choice. You were thrown into it. Learn to swim.
Put on the spot right then and there. And Jan's wife, Audrey, she said, maybe you better ask him first. So I said yes, and the rest is history.
Lovely,
yeah.
Lovely. So how have you seen the men's shed evolve in the last 14 plus months or so?
We started off at the garage community space, and Sharon Bannister was fantastic. I said, Sharon, we need a space to have meetings. I said, but we have no money. And she says, that's okay. But I said, we want to pay our way. And I said, what do you need? And so from that, we built, I believe it was 9 raised garden boxes out of yellow cedar. Beautiful, wheelchair accessible, and that was our in to start.
And were you creating those here or in your homes? How did that work?
Well, we didn't have a workshop, so we were doing it in the back of the garage community space.
Okay.
And we had our first meeting, was June 2024, and we had 8 people show up. And then as we sit today, we're sitting at 28 members.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's been a fun ride.
So many people retire or shift careers and feel a sense of disconnection. Did you ever feel that yourself? Was that perhaps, other than your wife suggesting men's shed?
Yeah, I personally at the time did not feel disconnected and all that. Maybe I was missing some of the guys at work, that type of thing. But I'm not one to sit on the couch. But I saw the need for it. And I wanted to reach out to the community and do something. I've had a pretty good, privileged life. And it was time to give back. When you're working full time, you don't always have that opportunity, other than, raising kids, minor hockey, soccer, ballet, those type of things. But this was something that needed to be done. But you got to be careful, because if you just say men's mental health, they'll shy away.
Yeah.
So you disguise it with woodworking and metalwork and different things. And, it's the proof is in the pudding, as they say. We're out there, we've touched a lot of different community organizations, a lot of lives, and it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Tell me about the very first meeting. What was that like? What was that first day like in June last year?
Oh, well, that's 8 guys sitting around the table looking at each other, not knowing really how to even start. And we had a vote, and we created our cabinet. They voted me to be president, and we picked a vice president and a treasurer, and we just went from there. And then right away, we got into building the raised cedar boxes, planters. So,
what was that experience like, coming together? You guys meet every 2 weeks?
No, well, we meet every Tuesday from
okay.
10 to 12 at the Garage Community Space.
Okay.
And that's where we have our meetings. We actually have a shop that's further out of town on Calum Lake Road. And that's where we do most of the building and creating. And it's not just, we do projects for community. We do projects for people that are having a hard time financially.
Do they reach out to you? How does that work?
A lot of it's by reach out, and a lot of it is through connections with other community groups, such as the Hospice, Kassan Place, R.A.M. Lee, Terrace Little Theater, those type of people, groups.
What do you think it is about working with your hands that is so important for men? And have there been any moments or conversations that you witnessed when the gents are, building things, whether it's garden boxes or helping on a project together?
Yeah, a lot of us think our worth is in what we do for men. And there's times, a lot of it is working with your hands, and we think of our worth as from what we do, and that's not always the case. And I've heard people here say, well, I don't have any skills. And I said, no way. You don't need to be a carpenter. You don't need to be an electrician. You don't need to be a tradesperson. Just come out to the men's shed, and participate. And perhaps you pick up on some of those skills. But if you don't, that's fine too. Yeah. We're not I say, a sweatshop for seniors. So it's about connection, being there for each other. If you just said mental health, men will shy away. But if you disguise it with projects and community work and those type of things, that it goes a long way.
Masculinity can be tied a lot to productivity. We talked about that a bit. Usefulness, identity. What happens to a man when he feels no longer he has that? You know, what does the shed offer in that space?
Well, what we offer is community, and we offer a shoulder. Sometimes it's just an ear that we offer. You know, that it's a bit of a myth for men, you know, and the patriarch, you know, we've been kind of pushed into this, and you know, there's a better side through community work, through camaraderie. You can go so much further and be involved in things, help people. To me, that's the most important thing. You know, you get to help somebody, you know, and it might just be a small thing like fixing the steps of someone's house, or changing an air filter in their furnace. They don't know because their partners passed away and they didn't do that part of the house, you know, chores. And you know, it doesn't have to be a great, huge project.
Completely, and I feel like it also brings the community together, and perhaps in future, that individual may feel more inclined to reach out for help. So then we're not feeling so disconnected.
Yeah, and it's non-judgmental. It's, you know, we if someone comes through that door, we try and help them. It's as simple as that. Sometimes it may be turning them to another group that is more specific to their needs. But in general, it's, you know, just offering a helping hand or an ear.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. What does brotherhood mean to you, and how is it different from when you were younger?
Well, that's another good question. I come from a family of 6 kids, so...
boys?
Mostly boys. The eldest was, you know... my mom's favorite, I'll say. But, brotherhood's it's an odd word to me. I mean, to me, it's, you know, just being available for people. And it doesn't have to be a big act. It can be, you know, just, hey, how you doing? Like, what's going on? We start every meeting with what we call a wellness check. And we go around the board and we say, hey, what's going on in your life? Do you need anything? You need help? But there's, you know, camaraderie amongst the group, and they look after each other. They're always looking out. Hey, so-and-so might be having a hard time. You know, we should give him a call. Or, hey, have you heard from him lately? Oh, yeah, let's ring him up. Let's find out what's going on.
I'm David Grubb, and I've been a member of the association here since we started.
Amazing. David, what did you used to do before?
I spent many years in industrial supply sales. I retired quite recently, actually. And then I did a lot of volunteer work as I was working.
Okay, what kind of volunteer work?
I used to teach adult literacy in the prison system. And when I moved to Terrace, I got started with one of our local volunteer fire departments. And I spent 15 years with the fire department. I started as a rookie, obviously, and ended up being the assistant fire chief. And sadly, I had a medical issue, so I had to retire from that. Took a few years off. I wanted to get back into volunteering. So I started with the Hospice Society, and that kind of led to the Men's Shed.
How have you seen the Men's Shed evolve and grow, and are there any particular moments that stand out for you in the last year?
I see us getting more and more involved in trying to work with other societies to work within our city here to just to increase the standard of life for more people. If someone doesn't have the financial ability to do a repair on their home or something, and we can go in and do it, I mean, that means so much to them, and frankly, it's very rewarding for us, and it certainly doesn't hurt when we're trying to recruit more members.
And what is your favorite part of the Men's Shed? Is there something in particular that you really enjoy on a weekly basis or look forward to, or something some aspect that you'd like to see brought in?
I've just gained a whole lot of new friends, and I'm hoping to gain a lot more. It's just social.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Norman Frank, and I've lived in Terrace pretty well all my life. And I'm Vice President of the Men's Shed in Terrace, and also I'm a volunteer at the Farmers Market as Vice President of the board that runs a market, and I have for a long time.
Have there been any moments in the last year that really stand out for you? Any encounters or conversations or any projects that you worked on?
Well, I thought the project to build the Hospice Society had moved into a new building, and they needed a bunch of shelving for all their bookwork. So I took on the project. I built some plans. We got some measurements, and we got the material and built the shelving for them and put it in place. And they were great. They're happy with it. And that was, I felt was a wonderful contribution that I could do. And since that, I've been helping with the planters that the Men's Shed has built for sale at the farmers market. I've had a spot at the market for, 15 years. And now, this year, due to my wife's health issue, she can't come to the market. So I thought, well, I'll pay for the spot, and we'll let the farmers market, we'll let the Men's Shed use part of my spot. Yep, and that's what's happened.
Amazing.
Yep.
Is there anything you would like to see happen in the next 12 months, or any hopes for the Men's Shed in the future?
Well, I'd slowly like to see growth in the membership, and that's why I think a great spot to be and try to promote the Men's Shed is at the farmers market, because it's a very strong community-oriented place, and a lot of people go through there in the 4 hours that it's open, and it's a great place to meet people and talk to people, and hopefully get some new recruits for the Men's Shed. Yeah, some people that might want do a little woodwork, learn how to use their hands a bit more, and just have some camaraderie too, okay?
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you.
Lastly, has there been a moment that truly moved you since, having these meetings on a regular basis, once a week, 2-hour meetings, anything that particularly stands out, or even a conversation that you perhaps overheard that made you go, I'm so glad I'm doing this and I'm part of this community?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of moments. I mean, for me, the day that we received the shop and Diana came out of her house and just started hugging all the men, you know, and thanking us for coming out there and looking after her husband's shop. To me, that's a big one. You know, to lose a partner, horrible. And then loneliness that sets in. That can be tough for people. It can be really tough. The other one was when we're baking pies. You know, and if you go on our website and you see one of our brochures, there's the guy standing there holding the pie, the biggest smile you've ever seen, you know. Fabulous.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, that smile meant a lot. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Well, thank you so much for your time. I know you have to hit the road, and thank you for welcoming me on this beautiful day here in Terrace, and really appreciate you. And we'll make sure to share their information. So if anyone out there watching is interested in Skeena Valley Men's Shed, you can check out their website, get in touch. They're having meetings on a weekly basis. Valley, really appreciate you. Thank you so much to you as well as your wife, Catherine.
Thank you.
And safe travels.
Thank you.